Alrighty, hello folks. Hope y'all are doing well. Let's get some music going. Seem to be doing great. Howdy everyone. Hello. Hello. Welcome back or welcome if it's your first time joining me or joining Global Hack Week. We're excited to have you here. Let's jump right in, shall we? So first off, if you did not get a chance to check in yet, here is the check-in link for today's event so you can get those sweet points. And then for those of you who are coming in and maybe did not get a chance to see part one, hello, you can go ahead and take a look at our GitHub page at the link I just put in the chat as well. So we've got those two ready and set to go, which is great. And then we'll just start with, I think, a 5-ish minute overview, maybe a little bit longer of some of the stuff that we got done yesterday. And I think we'll jump right in and get started on coding some more. So as always, I love answering all of your questions. So if you have any specific questions, make sure you drop them in the chat. And I'll be keeping an eye on it the entire time. Hello. Happy to see you're here. Love to see it. Love all the wonderful people that are joining me on this fine Tuesday or Wednesday, wherever you happen to be in the world, as I always like to say. Hello. Exciting. So, great question, and I think a fantastic segue into our project here. So let's chat a little bit about what we were able to get done and what we're working on today. So, we're building Cheerify, which, as it says right on the bottom here, you kind of can't see it, but I'll zoom in. It is your daily affirmation companion. So we built in part 1 and 2 of building your first iOS app. We built out an app called Cheerify, which is an affirmation app that connects to an API and just grants you a positive affirmation once a day, and then also allows for you to favorite affirmations and add your own custom affirmations. Hello! I wanted to make sure we gave everyone a shout out. For the language, we, in this case, are using Kotlin, and then we are building an Android app specifically. So to talk a little bit about, so let's go over some of the progress that we made from part 1 in terms of what we built out. So first thing that we did is we built out this beautiful UI screen. So we have a menu button, a custom affirmation button, a refresh affirmation button, and a heart button. And then we also went ahead and built out a second screen called activity menu, in which we have a button linking us back to home, a little heart button that will link us to our favorite affirmations, and then we have 3 buttons that act as menu buttons to link us to all our affirmations, our favorite affirmations, and our custom affirmations. So that's a little bit about that, except why are these in uppercase? I don't think I want them to be uppercase. Interesting. We'll deal with that when we get to it. But let's see the app and give it a quick test run so y'all can kind of see our progress. So I'm just going ahead and launching the app in Android Studio here. I use an emulator, A, because I don't have an Android device handy, and B, so it's easier for y'all to see some of our progress as well. Let's make sure that we have any issues here. Touch targets. I think we're fine. Ooh, beeping. That's a fun noise. Anyway, so this is our app here. And so when we launch the app, we get a basic, or not a basic, we get an affirmation from the affirmation API, which we have right here. And then when we press the refresh button, we're able to see a new affirmation. And then when we press the menu button, the plus button, and the heart button, right now nothing happens. So that's a little bit about some of the progress that we made. So let's try, and I think for the things that we want to do next, and I have a handy dandy little to-do list that I always like to keep next to me whenever we're planning out these projects. I think the first priority is going to be linking the menu to the home screen. Then the second is going to be creating a new affirmation page. And then it'll be connecting or linking the new affirmation page to home and menu. And I think that'll keep us busy for at least a bit. So let's just get started there. First thing I want to do, kind of like I mentioned, is I want to make sure that this button actually links us to this new page that we're working on. So I'll go ahead and, this is not the page I'm actually looking for. I wanted to show this off. And then we can close out of this as well. Come on, thank you. I want to make sure that that button that we just saw, the little hamburger menu button here, links to this page. And then that this button and that button both link back to the main page. So let's go ahead and figure out how we can do that. I'm gonna create a new window here in my Chrome, and I'm just gonna Google. We love Googling. I'm gonna figure out how to move or how to make button transition to new screen or new scene or new activity. Android. One of the key skills is to make sure we know how to Google. So I am looking at something like how to make button to new open another activity, or how to make a button do a new activity. So we can go ahead and first, looks like we need to take a look at our manifest and add in our new activity. So we have this activity here. So within this, we want to call it .menu activity. And then probably just label. Let's see. String app name. Okay, I guess I can just delete the label. So we'll try that. And then in my main activity, it looks like I can just do something similar to this. So I'll create a new button variable called menu. And I'll say find view by ID. Ah, great question. We are using Android Studio for this project. So we find, it's made by, it's kind of maintained by Android, but it looks very similar to the JetBrains suite of products. I'm pretty sure it is a JetBrains product. So IntelliJ, PyCharm, CLion, if you're familiar with any of those, it functions very similarly. So we find view by ID button, and then I want it to be r.id.menu button. Now, I noticed when doing that it looks like we might have two buttons called menu buttons, so I'll just give it a quick search here. So I want to rename this button because it looks like we never actually renamed it, so we'll rename it to add button. So we have our consistent naming scheme. So we have menu button, that looks good. Menu button, add button, refresh button, and favorite button. Great. So we can now go back into the main activity here and then say when we can go ahead and either create a function or Ah, hello. Happy you're here. Let's see. So we can probably, so we do that, and then I want to create a new, like, we'll probably create a new function. So similarly to here, we'll create a private function called go to menu, which is going to have a button of type button. And then when we say button dot set on click listener, and then whenever the button is clicked, we do something. So in this case, we will go ahead and call go to menu using the menu button. And then we will say when the button is clicked, we want to start an activity. Ah, this is in Java and it's 10 years old. So I want to make sure we're looking at Kotlin. So we'll create an intent. So it's val intent becomes an intent of context, and then menu activity class dot job. Does not like this, so let's go ahead and control click. So we want to import the classes, make sure that all of these imports are set. Yes, import context. Type on these imports up here. Oh, this import looks off, so we'll go ahead and remove that. We'll also remove these imports that we're currently not using. I took these over from a different project, so remove all of these. Let's go ahead and command option. No. Okay. So I want to import property context, and we tried the first one, it didn't work, so we'll try the second one instead. Okay, do not like that. Create function intent. It's weird. Okay. We have start activity with the intent being intent from here, which won't work at the moment because this isn't working. So let's try and create an intent. Yes, we pass in context. Oh. Can I try this? And then try menu activity class.java. Cool. All right, that looks promising. So let's give it a test run. So we'll stop our old run from before, take a look at the warnings. This is an error here, so we'll remove that. And then go ahead and give it a run. Try and click it. Okay, so that crashes the app at the moment, which is not a good start. But we can go ahead and go into Logcat to take a look at the error log and see what happened there. So unable to instantiate activity. Class cast exception. So it looks like we cannot cast the specific activity to menu activity, which I guess kind of makes sense. So let's try. Let's try to import this context here. Right? And we get an error, so we can import a property context. And then we get some issues here. So, trying to figure out what's the problem here. So I should just be able to supposedly call it on this. This clearly does not work. So, I mean, we can give it another attempt, but if it didn't work this time, I don't see why it'll work. Didn't work last time, I don't see why it worked this time. So, how do I create a button with Kotlin to open a new activity? So we don't have a context variable. So maybe if I did menu activity.bits. Okay. Or sorry, main activity. Okay. Hello. Thank you for coming. Ah, I don't want that. I don't need that. Let me try and grab. So we need context. Okay. Android Studio tutorial. It's really not what I'm going for. So did I import intent? Yes, I did. And then go ahead and import this here. Okay. Let's give that another attempt here. Okay. So we got another crash. Go back to logcat. I'm expecting to see something kind of similar, which is unable to instantiate activity. Menu activity cannot be passed to android.app.activity. So let's try and, instead of putting this in the function, maybe we can put it directly in the variable here. So we could do something along the lines of menu dot set on click listener, and then within this function we want to say val intent is equal to an intent that involves this and our menu activity class.java, and then we want to say start activity with the intent we just passed in. Okay. So it does seem to not mind this too much. Let's give it another attempt. Okay, so it does not like this still. And if we go back to logcat, we'll likely see the same error. Give me 1 second. Got a hackathon question. Okay, there we go. So it looks like we have the same error. Yeah. So let's go ahead and I just like pop in the error into Google, and people tend to have a great question. All right. The Stack Overflow resource I found suggested doing menu activity, not this, but this looks like it comes with a warning of some form, which I don't like. Okay. I don't know how that was supposed to fix anything. So let's maybe get rid of that really quickly and just try and run this, even with the warning, and see what happens. Okay, so compilation error. Does not like this. Expression cannot be a selector. It looks like there might be an issue in our activity declaration here, maybe? Do menu activity. Well, no. So what if I tried this now? Would that fix it? I mean, I don't see why it would, but I also don't see why it wouldn't. Okay, so that does not do anything. Let's take a look at the error log again. It's probably going to be the exact same error. Ah! Not this. I'm not able to find menu activity. Oh. Okay, so it's saying that I did not declare this activity. So let's try and just copy over the exact declaration we have from here. So it'll be .menu activity. Android exported will be true, and then I'll get rid of the intent filler. Potentially. Get a comment out for now and see if that helps things. We'll go ahead and run that just in case. Give it another run. So now it shuts down again because menu activity cannot be converted to activity. Okay, so that's what I thought. So I want to go back, comment this back out again. We'll try that again. Don't see why that would work, but yes, the same error here. Or taking an educated, yes, educated knowledge tells me same error. So I want to comment out or remove that. And now if I run it, I want access to that old error we had, or not old error, but error we just hit that was slightly different. So unable to find explicit activity class. Have you declared this activity class in your Android manifest.xml, or does your intent not match its declared intent filter? Okay. So potentially, if I rename this to be menu activity, right? 10.action dots. Looks like we got tons of options. Okay, can I try view instead? And let's see if that works. I don't see why that would fix the other error. It does not. So I'm going to go ahead and copy over this entire error log into okay, so public class main activity is an app compact activity. Yes, that makes sense. Oh, I'm seeing the preceding dot before the activities path. No, I have it. Main activity and menu activity. Let's maybe try and swap this around a little bit. Maybe try and extend it to be an app compact activity. Instead, close this. And then I want this to be called menu activity, please. Yes. And now let's give it an attempt. Nice. Okay. There we go. So you fixed the error with the log over. The only issue is that I don't think this is connected to the actual activity menu that we just made. So we need to go ahead and do that. So we can take a look at main activity and just copy over this function and go ahead and edit this out. And then instead of activity main, I'm going to call it activity menu. And let's give it another trial run. Looks great, except these buttons don't work because we haven't set it up to go the other way. Let's go ahead and set it up to go the other way as well, now that we kind of know what we're doing. So we'll go into main activity, and we have this class effectively accomplishes a lot of what we're looking to do. So this has to happen pretty much after onCreate, or within onCreate. So we'll create a menu, and then let's take a look at what these are actually called. So it's menu button, and then home rounded button. Okay. So want to make this again, except we'll call this home. Home rounded button. And I actually do think I want to rename this button from a menu because it's not technically the menu button. This is the home button. So I will name this home rounded. We'll stick with there. So home rounded, and then we'll say, or home circle, home underscore circle, and then home underscore rounded. And we want to set this to be home button, and then home rounded button, and then we want to say home circle set on click listener, and we want to send it to main activity.java instead. And then we want to do the same thing on this one here. So say main activity.java like that. So what is your error? Okay. Missing inflated. What do you mean? It exists right there. Home underscore button, right? Now let me copy it over exactly. Make sure I don't have a typo. Okay. All right. It's telling me that it should not have parentheses. So I guess we'll just go with good old camera. It's my favorite. Cool. We got that. Which is good. And then why is this throwing an error? So main activity or menu activity. So I'm going to close out these two. I'm going to also close out the launcher because I've got some more room. And also here. Yeah, home button. Home button. Favorite button, right? Home button. App name, app description, favorite button, home rounded button, custom rounded button, and favorite rounded button. These two should be flipped in order, so I'll do that really quickly. I hate it when they're not in the correct order, so like in a logical order from going down here. So yeah, okay. Let's just give this a run really quickly and see if this error goes away. Okay, so it did. So I can click on this button and be taken back to home. I can click on this button and be taken back to home. Pretty much the same thing. So that looks good. And the refresh button still works. So I say we can go ahead and work on building out our next screen. It's going to be the screen in which we actually create custom affirmations. So on that right now, we do nothing for that. So we'll want to go to activity main. And we also open up the motivation for project. Yes. And we'll want to create a new file. So create a file, new file here. Now create, what is it? Create, we'll call it create activity. And then, oh, no, this is just the text file. Undo, please. I would like to create a new Kotlin class file. Yeah, so I want to call this create activity. Just to stick with our naming conventions as well. And then in here, I want to create a new layout resource file. So that's going to be activity underscore create. And add that into Git as well. So there we go. On that part, this is where we'll kind of get to create our screen. So we'll start off with the baseline that we've got on the other screens. So first thing we'll add that's slightly new, we'll add the Android background. So change it to the color, have in the past, and also put that up there, or don't enjoy that. And then we'll also add in a tools context here. So this is tools context. This becomes create activity. And then in main activity, or in menu activity, do we have the same thing in activity menu? I'm curious now. Okay, apparently not. So we want to use activity menu will look more similarly to activity create anyway, which is, I suppose, important. Go ahead and add in also the app compact activity section here. So go ahead and move this over. So add it with the braces, and then also import the specific import that we need for this. And then we'll also need the onCreate function. So that is pretty all right. We just pop it in here, except then instead of activity main, we call activity create. There we go. That looks good. Let me double check some things. Someone reach out to me. Okay. That looks good. Cool beans. Let's give this a quick run, because right now when we, oh wait, I have no way to get to the screen yet, so there's no point in running it. We can kind of check if there's any errors anywhere. Cool. So then in the main activity, we'll want to kind of create the same thing as we did here, except for add button. So we'll call it add, and then we'll say add button, and then add set on click listener. I want to go to create activity.java and start the activity. So, and then I want the same thing to happen in menus activity. I want it to be for the, or no, actually, no, I don't want it to happen in the menu activity because that's different. Yes, because those are, you just view them instead of writing them. So for now, if I click the add button on this page, it should be linked to a blank new screen, except I'm not, because there's an error. I forgot to add it into the manifest XML, which makes sense. So let's add this in here, and we'll copy over the same way that we did it. So we'll do create activity. Maybe let's keep it as another one of these and give it a quick run, give it a quick plus, and there we go. We're taken to a blank screen. So that part looks good, which is a good sign. So let's go ahead and work on creating this affirmation page. So if I pull up my sample here, I just don't want to take away from this part. Pull up my sample here, and I go ahead and click the plus sign. I want to have, well, pretty much, we're going to definitely need something else on this screen. So we're going to do a couple things. First off, we're going to shrink the running devices screen. We're also going to shrink these to give them some more breathing room, and that makes sense to me. We'll also shrink this pane because it makes more sense having them just side by side, up, down, and then within this, I'll close out of these Kotlin files for now because I mostly just want to have the menu files open. And the reason for that is because I want to take this button and I want to steal it from this app. Go ahead and pop it into activity main or activity create and just move it down here. So instead of custom affirmations plus custom affirmations, I'm going to change this text to plus and then save affirmation. Extract the string resource. And then that part looks good for now. We've got the matching background, so that part's great. I also want to copy over the app name and the app description from all of the other screens to get us started. So that will go on top of this. Verify your daily affirmation companion. And then I also want to, from activity menu over here, copy over the home button. So this would just link us to the home page. So that is a good start there. Then what I want to do is within here, I'm definitely going to need to shift. Actually, I think that spot for us is the solid spot because in here we want to create a text box. We're creating a text box. I like to go into the design view, and then I like to go into plain text in here within the palette, and I drag it in. So I do that really quickly. And I like to constrain things so they kind of make sense. I'll clear constraints. And then I will move it kind of to where I want it to sit. And then also move the text box and then the button. I like to kind of pop it underneath. The text box I like to keep pretty large just in case the user wants to type in a few things. So I want to center horizontally, and then I want to constrain to the top of the parent. And then I also want to constrain to the start of the parent. Cool. And for this, I want to constrain to top of the parent and also to start of the parent. So, touch target size too small, that's fine. All right, got some issues here with accessibility, which we'd love to take a look at it later. Cool. So now we've got activity main and activity menu. I gotta open up the create activity, and we've got activity create. I do want to open it in the split view so I can take a look at this, because we've got, you know, this looks way more like other constraints. I kind of want to zhuzh this up in a way that makes sense. So this is the rounded button. I want to move this over here, and I want to clear the constraints of the selection as well. So what is your issue? Ignore missing constraints. That, I guess, kind of makes sense. But instead, I want to go with the constraints that were given. So this pushes this all the way up to the top. I instead want it to be somewhere closer down here. And for this, I want to clear the constraints. Then I want to add in some new constraints, and then push it slightly higher instead. And then for text, and then it's also missing the closing brace, so we'll add that part goes in really quickly. There we go. Oh, wait, I deleted something. There we go, that's better. And then I want to add in some constraints that look more like these. I'll copy this over, copy that over, and then shift this up slightly. That looks great. And then text, we'll add in no text here, I think. We don't really need there to be text inside this box. I think it, especially because when you have text inside the box, you have to delete it. So we'll go ahead and go with something like this. We'll close out the run, and then we'll try to rerun the app. I'm going to try and click plus. I can go ahead and type in your affirmation here. It looks so cool. You are amazing. Go you. Living along these lines. I think looks good. I'll press enter. I can save the affirmation. Right now, save affirmation doesn't do anything. Neither does going home to this button. So I think we'll go ahead and add in the functionality to have that button go back to home with no repercussions, not saving anything. And then I think it'll be time for like 10-ish minute break, and we'll finally come back and keep going. I think that sounds like a good deal. So I'll go ahead and recopy this home rounded button because it's pretty much a similar thing here. So we'll add that back in, except in create activity, it's not called home. It's called home button, that's right. So we want it to be on home button instead of home button. We've got home, and then home set on click listener, we'll say stuff here. And then we'll add in a second set of buttons. This will be save, and then this will be save. We'll need to change the button description here because this says custom rounded button. I want this button to be called save affirmation. Go ahead and do that here. So RID save affirmation. That looks good there. And then I want to say save on click listener. And for now, we're going to leave this function blank. So we've got the heavy setup out of the way, but we are still going to need to. So the plus button, we can click the save affirmation. Nothing happens. We're going to click the home button, and we're taking that home. Great. So let's go ahead and take this time to push up our changes. So we'll do git at all, git commit -m, and we'll call it first half of part 2. And then we'll do git at git push, and that goes there. So that looks like, if we now take a look at our GitHub page, we should have all of our work from, my goodness, it's so cold here. My apartment's freezing. We should now have access to our first half of part 2, an idea and app all set. So that part looks great. And I'm noticing some issues in our README that I think would be a great thing to fix sooner or later. But I say, for now, we're going to have to come back and kind of hit the ground running with actually saving affirmations. And that's something I'm really not familiar with in Android. So it'll be fun to learn together, I think. So let's go ahead and call like 10-ish minute break. So I'll be back around 7:55 Eastern time. So I'm going to go ahead and encourage everyone to grab some water. In addition to that, if you have any questions, you should post them in the chat. I always like doing a quick little like Q&A session after I come back from a quick break. So I'm going to go ahead and head off and relax for a few minutes, get some water myself, get ready for part 2, and I will see you all in 10 or so minutes. So thanks everyone for coming so far. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, just drop in the chat now. See y'all soon. And we're back. Howdy, friends. All right, so I just kind of went through our to-do list that I made at the start of the stream. We're looking good on all of those tasks. Those are done. So now I'm thinking what we do next is save new affirmations. So they persist across different sessions. I think that's really important. So let's go ahead. And I want to do some research on what exactly it takes to make this happen. Like I mentioned at the start of part 1, and if you're coming in and didn't see part 1, I'm significantly more familiar with iOS than I am with Android, which is also why I dedicated 3 parts to building the same app in Android that I did in 2 parts over at iOS. And that is because I knew that we're going to have to, occasionally take some more time to debug things or work through issues together. So let's figure out some core data alternatives for Android. Okay, so taking a look at some of my research, green, DAO, and then it also says ORM Lite, and then room data storage provided by Google seem to be helpful. So that seems like a good start, potentially. So we've got room here. We would declare dependencies. So let's try and use room. I think room seems like a good deal for us. So save text and put in a room. Kotlin. So maybe we can figure out some things from here. So save data in a local database using room. Use Kotlin. Okay. Interesting. Tons of stuff in Kotlin. We would create a data entity. And then be able to get all. That makes sense. All right, so let's give it a good old faith attempt, shall we? So first off, we'll need to add it into our dependencies, which we can do in our Gradle, I believe. Yes, so these will go in dependencies. So we'll say the room version we want to use is 2.61. And for those of you who are wondering, maybe following along, or just, watching, I'm using the official developer Android documentation, which you can find at this link right here. And we're specifically looking at the resources on room. So that's the good start there. So we have room version there. And then we want the implementation to be that annotation processor. And then we want to use the Kotlin Annotation processing tool, potentially. Oh no, I don't want to create a function. Okay. More actions. Okay. Maybe let's leave that off for now. And we'll see if we need it until we run into issues. So let's go ahead and we're on save data in a local database using Room. And then we're currently following the setup. So we've got 3 major components in a Room, the database class. Okay. Let's see, defining data using Room entities. Okay. Interesting. I guess that sort of makes sense. So let me go ahead and so we got the data access object database. This looks that okay. This would be yeah, okay. Define data using Room. All right. So let's create. Okay, interesting. Okay. It would make sense to me if this went into a new file. But I have no idea what type of file it would go into. So, let's sync the Gradle as well. That's always very important. So we'll do that super quick. And then let me also take a look. No, that seems good. So we're good on that end. All right, so we've got Room. We could potentially, so Room. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Realm also might be a good fit. So let's think through that. ASCII-Lite, yep. So I could, and this uses MongoDB Atlas, but it's Atlas Device SDK. See, that sounds scary. I don't think for what I want, we should be working with something that intense, personally. I might be very wrong on that, but my initial gut feeling is we don't need anything that complicated. But I guess we'll find out. So, okay. Need to configure the compiler options. Okay, that's weird. Okay, I say we just stick to the part of the documentation that makes sense. So, is there like potentially Code Lab, right? So create an entity, and it would great. Okay, see, that makes sense to me. So for context, on the bottom of the documentation I sent, there's a nice little code lab by Android on how to create an Android room with a view. It explains the architecture components, which is awesome. Then it also goes into more details onto how to actually create the app and update the Gradle file. So we'll want to follow these steps, I think. So we'll want to add plugins. That goes up here. Okay. So it would be ID, assuming org dot would just be Kotlin dot package. Okay, it doesn't seem to complain about that, which is a good start. And then so that's that. And then okay, we'll want to have these down here as well. So packaging options, Android default config packaging options, and Kotlin options. Okay. So we already have the JP target. Okay, you do not like that. Okay, so we're ignoring that, I think. Dependencies. Replace the dependencies block. Okay. I don't know how I feel about that, but we also haven't updated any of the dependencies yet. So I am kind of, wait, no, we did. We added in the, and also, oh, these are also written in that weird format that I'd never understand. My goodness. Okay. So let's see here. We've got app compact and activity should have versions, but I don't think they do. Okay. We'll just try. Well, let's try it. We'll give it a shot. We'll definitely need to keep the com.codepath one for the API that I have. So I'll copy that. I'll comment out this. I'll copy this block of code from the code lab. Paste that over here. Then I'll have to do the thing. All right, added the braces and see if it hates it. Okay, so it does not hate that, which is a good start. Implementation looks good. Capped looks good, except for that. Android test implementation, okay. More implementation. We'll have to deal with capped there, but I think that's fine. Okay, cool, cool. I could like Control Shift F and do this, but honestly, that does not seem super worth it right now. So we'll go ahead and just keep going with this. So much stuff, so fun. There we go. Implementation. Implementation. Test implementation. Okay. Goodness, what is that? Can I just delete that for now? Android test implementation, there we go. And then this test implementation in here. So this will be for the HTTP requests. Cell requests. There we go. Cool. So in here, first off, I'll do our version. That's fine. Kotlin version's not declared, let me guess. Okay. That's kind of strange, but Oh, we'd add it in the build script, in the Gradle. Okay. So plugins. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. We don't have Kotlin version. Can I just add in the Kotlin version manually? Okay. It still doesn't like capped. Don't want to rename it. I don't want to add the function. I added in as a plugin. No, I didn't. I also need to add it in here. And that would make sense. Sync it. Uh-oh. Nope, sorry. I'll remove that to start, then try again. Okay. Plugin was not found in any of the following sources. Once again, we do the thing where we look at the error. It needs to be in the app build Gradle, not the project, but build Gradle. Got it. We remove it from here. We add it to this one instead. Now we try again. What? Try again? So no. What if I comment it out for now? Or just remove it? Sure. Try again. Okay. Yeah, unknown reference. That makes sense. So now if I added it back in here. Okay. Oh, it's org.jetbrains. So let's try that. Try again. Okay, that's promising. It's doing its thing. Cool. Give it a second. We'll keep an eye on it. Okay, looks like build successful. So that's a good start. Okay. So I should have a build script. So let me go ahead and remove this for now. Now let's go back. Let's resync this. Should we go through that? Yes. Okay. So I want to look for the, so this happens in my build.gradle. But I'm assuming in this one, it should be a build script. I don't see a build script. I've got build type. It doesn't seem like the same thing. So where should the build script block go? Where? Build script block Gradle. So it looks like it goes above the dependencies block, which sort of makes sense. Let's try and add it in here, except we don't want this. Okay. Does not like that. So what if I paste it into like the top one options here? Not either. Oh, maybe within compile options? No. Kotlin options? No. Maybe in the dependencies? Also no. Okay. I could sync it now. Okay. So it's saying that there's too many characters in the character literal, which I can definitely see. If I do that again. Nothing I hate more than... Okay, so what if I do... Was it Control Shift F? Or no, this is find all, but that's not really what I want. So I want to do a find and replace. Or single commas. There's really no good way to do it, okay? Well, there is. I just don't remember the command off the top of my head, which is fine. It's not ideal. All right. Boom. 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 All right, so we are changing a bunch of stuff in here, a bunch of properties and things and lovely, all that. Okay, unresolved reference ext. Okay, extra properties extension. That makes sense. Where does the build script block go though? Okay, Gradle. So it goes build script, then plugins. Where's plugins? It's dependencies. So it's supposed to wrap. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I kind of see that. I think it's supposed to build types, release. It does not go in there. So is it supposed to wrap this build script? And then it's supposed to have the dependencies in there? That feels really strange, but that works. Okay. So the build script works there. Then if I try to put in that, I try to say in here, Sten Kotlin version 1.5331, sure. Okay. Let's try to sync the Gradle. Okay. So it does not, in fact, like that. Okay. Thought it was worth a shot. Yeah. I'm fine with that. Calm down. Okay. You can try to build the Gradle. Right? And then I get this error, which I want to look up again. Build types, default config namespace. Yeah. Deprecated. That's not helpful. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, I might just need to click update variable, update dependency, and all these. Okay. Update variable, update dependency, update variable, dependency, update variable, dependency. Okay. This makes sense. Great. Update variable, update dependencies, then apply. Do all of that. Alrighty, so fun. There's a spinning circle, then press OK. Okay. Okay, it's doing this. That's a good, promising start. All right. Okay, legacy support, that's fine. I'll just do this. It will let me. Okay, that's fine. All right. There's still progress. There's only one error. Okay, cool. So we got this out of the way. Oh, and it updated the text in here. Cool. So that's the setup. Then we create an entity. We want to create a new file. Okay. Create a new Kotlin class called affirmation, which is going to, add it in here. And then it is going to be a data class affirmation, which has a val text of type string. And then a val is custom of our val is custom of type boolean, and a val is favorite of also type boolean. There we go. Cool. And then I want to create the annotations. So at entity, and then table name will be affirmation underscore table. Okay. Want to say class affirmation, which has at primary key, and then at column info text equals or name equals to text, or val text is a string. Okay, That feels a little weird. Okay, so entity and then class affirmation. I want to make it like that. Cool. So I want to have at primary key. Auto generate is true. Val ID is of type int. And I want to say at column info name equals to text val. It's a comma. Okay. So fun. Val text string. Then we can probably do something similar to this, because instead of text, we'll go with is custom and is favorite. These are boolean. And then instead of name, we'll go with is custom and then is favorite, not is boolean. Okay. So option enter. Okay. Oh, so instead we go for something like this. We go for this class affirmation. Okay. And then we create an entity table name. So you don't have this entity though. So I need to know. See, renaming this reference is not going to help them. Kindly. So that's interesting. Okay. Guess we'll get to that when it becomes an issue. Okay, create the data access object. Okay, we have to create a new file. So create a new file. A new Kotlin file called affirmation DAO. Add it to Git, yes please. And then I want to have a DAO interface affirmation DAO, like that. We don't like that. Hopefully, no, right, that's why. Okay. So there's a query. Select from. Okay. So this would have a function called it's on to create a fun get random affirmation, which will return a affirmation. Then I want to have this at insert. I want to create a suspended function of insert. For text will be of type affirmation. Okay. Then I want to delete. So I'll create a suspend function called delete all. Okay. This is very interesting. So I will have to create a database now called room. Okay. Okay, so we need another file. Cool. New file. Affirmation room database. Cool. Add this to GitHub indeed. So we'll have entities array of, it looks like this to start, array of affirmation class, not .java. Version will be 1. And then, or it's equal, sorry. It will be 1. And then export schema be false. Makes sense, I guess. We have a public abstract class called affirmation room database, which extends from room database. Okay. Okay. And then we have an abstract function called affirmation PAO, all lowercase, turns affirmation PAO, cool. Then we have a companion object. Okay. And then we create an instance, volatile, okay. So it would be an affirmation room database question mark, which is null to start, I guess. Okay. And then we want to get the database. An affirmation room database. Okay. If the instance is not null, then return it. If it is, create the database. Got it. Okay. So room context, application context, and this will be the affirmation room database class .java. Okay, and then in here it would be called affirmation underscore database. Okay, and then it would get a .build. Oh boy, okay, this is very strange. Let's see at the end. All right, and then we have instance is equal to instance, and then we instance. Okay. Oh, that just fixed all the errors. That's really funny. Context action. Can I import class context? Okay. And then I'm assuming I need to import object room. Okay. And then I need to import class database. Okay. And then this is build instead of built. Yeah. Okay. Errors are gone. Sweet. Okay. Interesting. Now we create the repository. Oh my goodness, this is very complex. I kind of love it, but we do need another file new Kotlin class file. So this is called affirmation repository. Cool. I want to add this. Inside it will be a class affirmation repository, which takes in a private val affirmation DAO, which is of type affirmation DAO. I believe that. Cool. Then we have this. So room executes all queries on separate thread. Looks like instead of getting random affirmations, we'll do a call that says get all affirmations. This is the tutorial is written for a dictionary, I think, so all words. So we'll go with this for now, and we'll try to get it working. And then when we do, that's when we can kind of worry about all of this issues here. Okay, so then we need to have an affirmation repository class. Okay, we made that. So then it will say val all affirmations, be a variable of flow, and then a list of affirmation. I'm assuming we need to import this flow. Sure. All right, which is then going to equal affirmation DAO dot get all affirmations. Great. Okay. Then we want to suppress this apparently. And then we have a worker thread, which we need to import the corresponding class. It'll be suspend fun insert. Affirmation is of type affirmation, not the F here. And then it will be affirmation now dot insert affirmation. Cool. Okay, then we create a view model. Oh my goodness. So intense. And then we still need it. There's still more files. Okay. New file. Word, or not word, affirmation view model, please. Great. Add this. Each one of these has an error. Name reference? No, I refuse. I want to name it affirmation table. You have an error because you say affirmation table is bad. Which is not true because I declared affirmation table. Right? Okay. You know what? Later problem. We'll try to get as much of this code up as we can. So let's do, so we made the affirmation view model. So class affirmation view model takes in a private val. What is it? No. Okay. Private val repository, which is of type affirmation repository. Great. And it extends a view model. Lovely. That makes sense. Cool. So using live data, great. That all makes sense to me. And we say the all affirmation, the live data, list of affirmation, repository.all affirmations as live data. Okay. This needs to be imported. Thank you. Then we need to launch a new word thing here. Insert affirmation will be of type affirmation. Great. View model scope to be imported. Insert affirmation. Great. What do you not like about this? Okay. This needs to be imported. That looks then good. Okay. We get this over here. I could read about this for days. My goodness. Okay, this needs to close out of this class. This needs to go in here. So this becomes the affirmation repository. This needs to get imported, I'm going to assume. So this becomes affirmation view model. This returns affirmation view model, or was it? Yeah, affirmation view model as T. Okay. Add XML layout. Add a recycler view. Instantiate, populate, add new word activity. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. We might have to come back to this in part 3. I think we're going to come back to this in part 3, just because we're starting to get really complex here. And I'm not sure where to go from here. Like, kind of this, right? For example, if I remove this flow, try to import a new flow. Can I import, assuming this flow makes sense. Okay, so I got rid of 2 files with errors. It's a good start. Does this file still have errors? What's the error in this file? Missing closing brace. Uh-oh. I am indeed. All right, so let's close this out. Cool, so that's these 3 files without errors. An affirmation, so table name. Why is my table name red? Create an entity. Oh, it needs to be enclosed. That'll do it. Okay. Great. My affirmation DAO, then. This needs to return type affirmation. No. So get all affirmations. That needs to be, okay, so then this is a list of affirmations. What, put like select 1 from affirmation table? Or what if I did a new query that select 1 from affirmation table? I said func get random affirmation, and I just returned an affirmation instead. Okay. And then I could hypothetically go into here. Why is this not throwing an error? Okay, sure. Cool. That's in the affirmation room database. Okay. All right, let's comment this out for now. Affirmation repository, right? Affirmation DAO. No, this needs to be the flow, needs to wrap around the whole thing. This is in the repository, so in so this is flow list of affirmation, all affirmations, affirmation DAO dot get all affirmations. Yeah. Okay. It's saying that I should update the type. Oh, I need to be this to be flow. Okay. So they did do that eventually. Flow of list of affirmation. Got it. Then I need to import flow here. It needs to be the coroutine one. Yep. then this looks good, this looks good, that looks fine, and then this view model is the one that's weird. So repository.all affirmations dot as live data. There we go. Great. Okay, at least we don't have any errors for everything that we've written so far. So I think this is a good point to probably call it a day, just because I don't think I'm going to get any farther. So let's go ahead and go to terminal, do git add all, git commit -m, we'll call it end of part 2, begun adding room for saving data. Go and then git push. And so code is now updated. I'm going to go ahead and add a view model here. I'm going to go into the GitHub page and go into Cheerify Android and add some stuff, some notes for myself. So actually stop sharing this screen and start sharing the one on which I've got the GitHub page. Do that really quickly. So that's this one right here. Pick this up. Great. So Cheerify. And then so we'll get a nice little places here, and then we'll add a comment for part 3. We left off on adding room. More details on room are listed at this. And let's paste the link. Parts 1 through 10 are working, but need to be customized for Cheerify. Cool. And then I just noticed there's a typo here, made for Global Hack with Beginner. And then what it does, this is good, this part's good. So we'll go ahead and commit these changes real quick. Then I'll go ahead and also pull them down from GitHub before I make changes on this end. So just changes to the README, that's great. We'll terminate the app. And I think we can go ahead and close out today's stream. I think now's a pretty good time to end. So thank y'all very much for coming. It was lovely to hang out with y'all. I am excited for part 3 tomorrow. I think we'll make some really fun stuff with this app. We'll end it off on a high note. Besides that, we're, same time here tomorrow. We'll be building some more Cheerify. It's been a very fun time. If you are, yes, thank you for coming. If you are looking for the GitHub link, I am going to drop it in the chat really quickly. Same with the GitHub link as well as the check-in link, just in case you missed those. So here's the GitHub link. And then here is the check-in link, if I can grab it. So let me grab it. Nope. Come on. I don't want to. Okay. Yeah, there's the GitHub link, and I'll just copy it over. There we go. There's the check-in link. Got it. So if you're looking to check into this event, go ahead and do that at that link right here. There we go. Beautiful. And then if you're looking to join the GitHub page, you can do that at that link right here. And then besides that, I hope you enjoy your morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you happen to be in the world, or night, if you're watching this at 3 a.m. Up to you. Thank you very much for coming. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Global Hack Week, and I will see y'all at the same time tomorrow. Thank you all once again. I will say it again, but I say it all the time. Thank you all for joining me, and have a good one. Bye, everybody.